Let's speak now to Nour Eldeen Al Hammoury in Dubai. He's Chief Market Strategist at Equiti Group. Welcome back to the programme, Nour. Now, stocks have maintained the positive momentum to close the week, but are investors genuinely optimistic of a breakthrough in peace negotiations, or is the AI boom still doing most of the heavy lifting?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's a combination of both, but I would argue also that AI is still doing the much of the heavy lifting, while the geopolitics is improving sentiment around the edges. Markets appear increasingly willing to price behind this, but investors also reacting to resilient earnings and continued enthusiasm around the AI-related sectors. The key point is that markets are behaving as if diplomacy is becoming likely, but they also may be pricing peace faster than politicians can deliver it. So if you, one of the things that I'm looking at is basically markets are no longer pricing in war headlines anymore. They are pricing in the probability of diplomacy.
And looking at Japan, inflation has fallen to a 4-year low, but analysts still expect surging fuel costs from the Middle East war to accelerate prices in the coming months. How does that complicate things for the Bank of Japan?
I mean, Japan's softer inflation initially looks supportive because it reduces the pressure on policymakers. But at the same time, there is an important complication. Energy and Middle East tensions and higher fuel costs tend to arrive with a lag. So markets may be looking at backward-looking inflation data while underestimating the future price pressure. Japan now faces, again, a balancing act supporting growth while watching important inflation risk carefully. I think this will still complicate for policymakers because we had multiple interventions to stop the Japanese yen from declining, and they already spent about $60 billion, and so far the dollar yen is back to near 160. Last year, we saw them spending about 100 billion, and it still didn't do the same thing. So the next phase, I think, if there will be any kind of interventions, it needs to be a coordinated one in order for it to actually succeed. Other than that, it will complicate things even more.
Now, oil prices are down for the week, but still remain elevated, and IEA Chief Fatih Birol, as we've just heard, called this the biggest energy crisis in history. How much longer can we sustain these high prices?
I mean, markets are still pricing in geopolitical risk premium, and the issue is not only the current supply disruption, it is also the uncertainty around the duration. Markets can absorb a temporary shock, just like as we saw over the past couple of months, but prolonged uncertainty is much harder to price. That is why diplomatic headlines is creating outsides reactions across oil currencies and even equities. But oil traders here today are reacting less to barrels and more to headlines. In addition to that, I mean, I think everybody knows now, especially with higher borrowing costs across the board and dumping bonds, everybody is basically cornered in order for them to come up with a deal. And I think this will happen very soon.
And a multi-trillion-dollar IPO would be the largest in history. Where will the market find the massive liquidity to absorb a listing of this scale?
I mean, liquidity so far, we haven't seen any issues when it comes to liquidity. I mean, over the past couple of weeks or the past couple of also months, even after the beginning of the war, we didn't see any kind of issues with liquidity. Now, one of the things that everybody was waiting for is basically SpaceX's launches its Starship last night that got scrubbed. Now we have another in about a couple of hours. They will also try it again, and the timing of it's kind of a little bit interesting. It's just because right before the IPO, but I think with the valuation that they put and with the net loss that they also put out, it might have a little bit of a chance, at least at the beginning of the IPO. But I think the demand on Elon Musk himself and the brand that he created, in addition to the multiple companies and successful companies, will still be one of the main strongest things that will probably support the IPO.
Nour Eldeen Al Hammoury in Dubai, thank you very much, as always.